It's
There we
live.
go. Did it pop up for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Evening, everybody. Sorry, we're just running a little late. Um, but we are here and things are going good. Uh, I have with me tonight Cindy Young, Courtney's mom. I'm
She's,
happy to I'm happy to
I'm
have you.
sorry.
Well, what
Okay,
happens
go.
when one when one of us goes to speak, it cuts out. I just want to say I'm happy that you're feeling up for this tonight. I'm glad to much rather have you here with us.
Well, we have some good news tonight. There is no tumor to be found in the body. So at this time, there is no cancer cells. So if it's called remission, whatever they want to call it. So as long as I continue my immunotherapy, I am guaranteed, another couple of years, 3-4 years. So we're on a roll.
I haven't spoken too publicly about it. I've just been letting everybody know you've been dealing with, your own battle.
Correct. So I had the
With
small cell lung cancer. Okay. And it's gone. I mean, there's no cells anywhere.
Wonderful. How did you feel when you heard that? Officially heard that?
Well, it's one of those that I'm still so weak. How can you tell me I'm not sick anymore when I feel like I'm half dead? You know what I mean? Because they've just wore me out. And I'm getting a little bit stronger each day. The doctor said yesterday that until I get all of the chemo out of my system, which I don't know, it's been 5 weeks. And he said it just drains you, and but I'm doing the immunotherapy, which is the I can't remember, I think it's Tecentriq is what it's called, and it is probably what saved me, because from my understanding I would have been dead at 6 months, and we're past 6 months. So we're on a roll, and we're on a roll for justice. So there you go.
That's what I told everybody. I say, Cindy would very much rather be up here speaking along with us. But it's been a rough road for you here, and I'm glad that that's so wonderful.
It is. I'll tell you, we're really celebrating. We planned everything, and as if other things could have happened. So I wanted all my ducks in a row, so to speak. So everything is looking nice. The crystal chandeliers hung in the bedroom, You know what I mean?
Well, that's good. It's good to hear you talk like this, because, I've spoken with you for a while, and it's good to hear you speak like that.
I know. So who all was with us?
In the meantime, we have been up here talking and showing, and I think people know where I stand. And I was talking to you, and I felt like, I think, up to you, but maybe we should talk about releasing the transcripts, and then we release them, and it gives you a good look, a good start on some of the things that happened back then. And one of the things are, I'm getting that, nobody's really talked about it. It was what was said in the news, and what we've seen, just these little snippets. So when I started talking about it, everybody, in the comments, it was very mixed emotions as far as, why is she defending Wayne? Why is she da, 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 da? And I understand, and you understand, but they don't quite understand that you guys had a relationship with Wayne. Courtney met him when she was 16, right?
Well, actually, Kara was dating Wayne, and Wayne, yeah, it was probably around 2005. I don't know exactly. I guess Courtney was 16, 15, 16 years old. And Wayne was in and out of the house. Kara, same to where he was like almost, we were doing foster care at that time, to where he was just like another one of the kids. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And he had even been in the foster care system previously, but not with us. Okay.
Yeah.
And now I'm not defending Wayne.
No, but
Okay.
you guys have
Wayne is guilty in his own um right.
what for his, yeah, I get what you're saying, it's not that he is innocent or any of that. It's
Right.
just
What the
he's
point is my whole in the beginning, which was of course just prior to the preliminary hearing, we met with the DA's office at that time, and they were all about Wayne. And
and you knew, and the thing I want before we go in is I just want to make it very clear that, through the foster care, through him meeting Wayne became, a part of the family. You guys knew, he went away for a few.
Wayne looked at me as if I was his
Yeah.
mother figure, and he always tried very hard. He would try to listen to me on get a job, you need longevity, get your education or a trade. He would listen to me, or he tried very hard, and he really looked up to Kenny and I. Okay. And he loved the girls, and he loved my grandgirls. He was even at not Courtney. He was at Cameron's first birthday.
So,
Okay.
and I want to stop you there because he came into your life. He dated Kara. They broke up. He kind of popped out for a little bit, and it was about Cammy's first year is where he kind of came back in, and that was like what, 2012?
Rough, yeah.
Somewhere
I'll say,
in there.
I mean, yeah, somewhere in there, because see, he had gotten married, and he was bringing the stepdaughter and that Halloween, by the house and everything. So he was still coming in the house with, as life goes on, it wasn't as
So
if,
he was
we
always just
despised
like
him
this
because of that.
extended.
He's one of our kids.
Yeah, yeah. So I think, a lot of people don't know that. So I think, it's not that, it's just, I think from talking to you, it comes from a sense you felt like you knew Wayne. So when it all started coming out, Wayne felt like he was Courtney's protector, you said, that's just the relationship he grew over time.
It definitely.
So when it all came out and all this was being said, I can imagine how, what your thoughts were.
At that time, my thoughts were that when this happened, I boys, this is hard. This is really hard.
Yeah,
At,
it's okay.
at that time,
It's
I,
okay.
I thought that Wayne had Courtney, okay,
Yeah.
and he was protecting her, and yet here they're trying to tell me that she was dead, or they couldn't find her. Is basically what they said. They wouldn't even tell us that she was dead. Okay, they couldn't find her, and I thought, well, Wayne has her. She's safe.
Yeah. Oh, Cindy. Yeah.
Okay. And here, this family, you saw the ER video.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And you know why now? I thought, well, Wayne has her. She's safe, because I just knew he was evil. I didn't think he was that evil. I didn't think they were all that evil. Okay.
So now let me take you there. When did, Courtney and Austin were together? How long when Austin came back into the picture?
When Wayne came back into the picture, when they were born?
A year or two.
Yeah, when they were born. It was probably in the fall of that year, of 12, when he came back into the picture.
And they weren't at this point, were they doing, him and Courtney? How was the relationship when he came back?
She was, oh no, the relationship was horrible, even, I think, throughout the whole pregnancy.
Okay.
With
when he
Austin.
came back into the picture, he would have, what I'm just trying to say is, from who he was to you guys, this relationship you had, him coming back into it, knowing Courtney, knowing, he would have had to have known, that things weren't good between them.
Correct. And
Yeah.
when he wasn't around, I guess he was around quite a bit more than normal. And Austin enjoyed it because he benefited from clothing, name brand clothes, jewelry, colognes, all name brand. Okay.
Austin he is a flash.
Because, okay. All right. Courtney wasn't just the golden angel. I mean, she was, but she wasn't. Okay. Wayne and her would go, they were thieves. And Austin benefited, but he loved to see them go so that he could benefit. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But however, Courtney worked. Austin didn't work. Okay. So Austin, he never worked. Okay. Courtney held a job and would do this other. Okay. And they would do, I'm not exactly, I'm not real up on drugs and that, but they would do,
they were just
a doctor run, which would be for the Subutex and the Suboxone. Okay. Which was very expensive, but these were planned.
Yeah.
Okay. These were planned trips to the doctor and to the pharmacy, and they all three went. One would go 1 week, one would go the next week, and one would go the other, the following week. Okay. And to where they never were out of medication. Yeah. Whether they were selling it or taking it, I don't know. It was never in Courtney's system. Okay. On the autopsy report, that was not in her system.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
but in going to Austin's preliminary, and that's another question, where to start. I think it is good to go there, because in there we see that he very much tries to distance himself for some reason from any type of close-knit, routine hangout relationship with Wayne. He even in fact says, I didn't even know he was coming over that day.
Right.
And we know that's not true.
Correct. He was very aware of it. It may not have been exactly that day, but within those few days. He knew, he was expecting it. Yeah. He benefited from it. Okay. And from what we understand now, looking back through Courtney's notes, because Courtney journaled quite a bit. And there was a party. Austin's father, their family was kind of cultish, like I would say. Anyway, his birthday was March 10th, and he had gone over to Cassville, which was about, I'm going to say probably about 10 or 11 miles from Courtney's duplex.
Yeah.
But now those are crookedy, country roads. Okay. And anyway, he had gone over there without even taking the baby or Courtney for his father's birthday. So I'm going to say that's when it was planned with the family. Okay. About when Wayne would be there the next time. So that there would be a fall guy. Do you see how that works? Yeah. Wayne was the fall guy. And I bet to this day he doesn't even realize it. Okay.
Everything was so cut off, and he probably doesn't know a lot of, but that makes it so much important, I feel, to know what he has to say today, because yes. I bet, and from what I've seen, he still very much sticks to the same thing that he said in his let me redact that. What he tried to say in his interrogation.
Correct, because he didn't get much across in the interrogation because they wouldn't let him. But he is the only one that's ever showed any remorse. He manned up and took the 15 years for his part, which was not taking control of the situation and calling 911 to render aid to Courtney. He was being pretty much ruled at that time. Austin was the one in control. Totally. And
Yes.
what the excuse was if you call the law, we'll lose the baby and you'll go to jail. You see?
Oh, yes. And I do.
And so if there's
And you can see, like, a lot of what they both say are the same things, but then at some point it starts to split off to more of Austin's a victim and this is all Wayne's doing.
correct. And for some reason, that's what the DA's office did with us in the very beginning. They said to make our questions up, and then we met with them in early April. Okay, we met with the DA's office, and actually we met with them twice. The first time they wanted us to make sure we had our questions ready, which we did. Okay, but they wouldn't listen. They wouldn't listen to any of our questions. All they would tell me is that Austin was a victim witness. And I was like, no, this is not our question. And it finally had just come down to me getting, that I just got really upset. Okay. And I just said, the hell with it. If you're not going to charge them both, let them both fucking go.
Yeah.
Okay. Period. I mean, if you're not going to take care of business, then, as Mother always said, and she's from Jackson County, and you don't mess with that, right. If you're going to half-ass, don't do it at all. Yeah. Okay. And they refused to, they knew then that they weren't going to press charges. He was going to always be the victim witness, and why, I don't know.
And that's what I wanted to make everybody clear. I just wanted to speak about it a little bit, kind of give a little background. Because you're not proclaiming Wayne's innocence. Nobody is saying that Wayne is innocent. All you are say is he wasn't and Wayne has never, the only person that has claimed the innocence and being a victim is Austin. But Wayne has very much, and I've seen myself that he has very much he is very remorseful.
Correct.
So I just wanted to make that very clear because that was one of the reoccurring questions. No,
and continues to tell me, "Oh, Cindy, I am so sorry. I love you. I love the family. I love and to this day, there has never been one box of diapers purchased or anything else. Do you understand? For Cameron, okay. However, if Wayne would have done way much more, and it's not even his child. He would have, he would have purchased more and taken care of her. I'll tell you that. And that the only thing Cameron was a free ride for Austin. Eric, are they here?
Now, did you see much of Austin after this happened?
Yes, we had we had to take her every weekend to visitation. He kept her every weekend.
So you got to see him prime in his fresh stab wounds.
Yes.
Did he? How did he? Just from
now, he never showed me the stab wounds. They're on his page. Everybody can see that on his page.
Did he? How did he seem to you? Did he seem that he had these life-threatening injuries? How did he appear?
No, he was high. No, he was high, because they were really feeding him good then, because he was just a hair from death,
It's just, and everybody's read through the transcripts now. It just seems like he just described this near-death experience, and he was so weak and the blood had drained. He just was in and out. He could barely do anything to help save Courtney. And he just thought about his daughter. But then, you see the video, and then even by his own testimony, you hear the things that he says these things, but you see all that he was able to do. and have access to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I mean, to me, my opinion is at the very least, you know, what it shows is you have 3 people here. They are in this horrific scuffle, and after it's over, they don't know what to do, and they both fail. And instead of, you know, I feel like it even shows proof that there was a plan to do something. You look at what Wayne's saying in that what he's trying to say in that interrogation room, and you look at that window, and then he talks of, well, yeah, we had planned on 2 guys coming in and saying they robbed it, you know, took over, killed, and that was going to be the story. And then you look at this fine cut window that Austin says he grabbed his daughter up, backed out of with cut wounds on his back. But my thing is, even further, there's no blood. Yeah, but that screen should be more out. And then again, you go back to what Wayne says. And then Austin said he cut that window.
Mm-hmm. Well, the frame would have been bent.
He had no means to protect them that night. And I think it shows that at the very least, he could have done plenty.
Oh, yes, he could have. There were phones everywhere, scissors, baseball bats, and there were daggers in the dresser in the room that, quote, he supposedly had the baby in. And not only that, he also had he had been collecting knives for about 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay, various styles, to where he had displayed one to my parents one afternoon when they had gone, Courtney and Austin had gone over to their condo, and my father was 92 years old, and it kind of scared him for Austin to be showing a knife that he had the case on his belt, you know, kind of real redneck style, you know.
Yeah.
And it just really upset my father so much that he actually hid a weapon in the kitchen, and we found that after his death, my father's death, which happened to be 10 months after Courtney. Mom and Dad both died 10 months after Courtney. They had grieved themselves to death. But he had a weapon in the kitchen in case he had gotten cornered by Austin. Now, go figure that one. Now, this is how the family saw Austin. Okay. I mean,
and that's important, because you not only knew Austin, but you knew Wayne. You knew both of these people in this situation very well.
There was no unknowns in the home that night.
Yeah.
And you know, I've always said, you know, I raised my children, and and look, I had over 150 teenage girls in my home, foster care. Okay, you kind of know and can predict your child.
Yeah.
Okay, and how they're going to react. Okay, and I just knew the 3. I knew what they were going to do. Okay, I really did. I just didn't think that, like I said, Austin would have killed her. I thought he was just trying to steal the baby, or you know, to where he wouldn't have to pay child support.
Because she was very much, I mean, you know, not just between what you guys have told me, but I think it's very public knowledge that, you know, she was very much looking into separating herself from Austin, figuring out what she could do.
Yeah, she had seen several attorneys in town and was trying, even though they weren't married, but she was trying to legally get away from him, you know. And
I've had people also say, you know, and I know that you have told me, you know, Wayne has witnessed, you know, physical altercations between Courtney and Austin before. I have people commented and reach out, you know, yeah, he got pretty scary when he was in those rages. And all I can think about is, you know, you have Wayne coming in seeing all of this, and of course he's going to see it. He's going to be, I'm sure Courtney had confided in him about it.
Oh, definitely. So he's going to be the protector, the big brother.
And I can imagine that there wasn't tension, that didn't cause tension between him and Austin.
And that's exactly what it did. It really did. But the fact of the matter was Courtney was going to leave him, period, which would make him have to pay child support if she took the baby, which would then mean he would have to work. Okay. And he wasn't going to work. Okay. But with this not being, Tennessee is this is a non-grandparental state. You have no rights here as a grandparent. And he knew that. And he knew that with Courtney, because I told you before that Courtney worked. She'd worked since she was 16 years old. And he would draw, with Courtney dead, he would draw, and of course it's not grandparental state, he would get custody of Cameron, and then he wouldn't have to work because he would draw and live off of Cameron's money and Medicaid, and food stamps.
Correct me if I'm wrong, he would have gotten some kind of like a victims package fund for.
Yes, that as well. But that is a trust fund. He didn't realize that. He thought that he could spend the money. He didn't realize that.
He was asking about it after this happened, wasn't he?
The first, well, Courtney wasn't even buried, and he was asking about it. And of course, with the Cash name, he thought that if he could convince them that if they helped him get custody of Cameron, that he would then make sure that they got to have visitation. Okay. And so he tried very hard to convince them of turning loose some money, but that never happened. We were the poor side of the Cash family. Let's put it that way. So,
and I just, from my outside, and I'm just, telling you what I see, and that's why I'm glad you're here, because you see more, you know what I mean? And the way I see it, and I've come to see, whether, this was planned before or afterwards, or planned before, or more of an afterthought, I firmly believe, he realized the benefits of Courtney no longer being here as a result of it. That's how.
Yeah, but he was raised that way because his father was married to his mother, and I don't know, I don't exactly remember exactly how he put it, but either she left or he threw her out, whatever the case is. And then Austin's father went and stole him at the same age, which was at 18 months. Okay. And then he's living with Austin's father, was living with another woman, and they, of course, later had, 2 children. And so the way I see it, he's probably still married to the first wife, but, it's not my business. It just goes to show the insanity and the cult-like behaviors these people are.
My thing is I don't want to ever say like I feel for Wayne, because like he even has admitted, when it comes down to it, he failed Courtney that night, and he believes that.
Oh, he knows it. Yeah, he's told me that.
Yes,
he failed everybody.
And I feel I do. I very much believe that he feels that way. And the reason why I say I just feel bad for, he's coming into this situation. He cares about Courtney. It's his friend. I think we've all been there with friends that want to leave somebody that is very toxic to be with. And being that third person on the outside that's listening to this, and you're like, you don't know what to do sometimes. You just don't. And I think he was there, and he's seeing this. And like I said, the tensions were building up. Because if you notice, Wayne says that he was paranoid that they were putting stuff in his needle.
Right.
And I'm not saying that's true. We haven't, to my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, we haven't found any proof that was something real that was happening.
Yeah.
But
No, we do have proof.
that it was in his system, that he went to the hospital. That's what I'm
Okay.
talking about.
No, it wasn't in his system. We have proof of the fear of it being put
Yeah.
into the. We have proof of that. Courtney left that in her jewelry box. She left two. Thank you. She left two receipts for antifreeze. One on March 14th, and one I can't remember the exact date. Was in December when he did go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Where Austin had purchased antifreeze and it sitting in the living room, and then it's just a power of suggestion. And I think
that's what I was getting to. Whether there that Wayne went to the and he has a defense. What I'm saying is, given the situation, given who I feel Austin is, being in that's just my opinion, a nasty person. He knew whether it was, I think he just took that and blew it up. And yeah, Wayne, I put it in there. Yep, I sure did load it. You know what I mean? I think he boasted. Not only was he, but I think he was taunting him and making that worse for him.
Exactly. Because Wayne couldn't shoot his own self up,
Yes.
and he couldn't,
Yes.
Whatever you do to put the stuff inside the needle. He couldn't do any of that. So he was at his, I'm sure Courtney could do it, but I don't know. And, I'm sure she was the one that did it, but that night it was Austin.
Yeah.
He's just that narcissistic type. Look what I can do.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think he fed on Wayne's fear so much.
Yeah, he did. He did. Very much so. And
I just think you have all of these factors because something happened. Something started that. And Wayne says, it was by the couch and in his hand. They were trying to inject his hand and a scuffle broke out.
Correct. That's what we've been told too. Okay. And now exactly what happened, I don't know.
Yeah.
We do know what time it happened, roughly between 3 and 3:30. And that's according to the neighbor. Okay.
Which is a whole nother.
Yeah, that's another, drama.
Yeah.
It all is really because it's small town. The 13th is pretty wild. Let me tell you.
But it started between 3 and 3 because they heard it. They heard
it. Correct. And
yeah. And they didn't call 911.
No, they didn't call anybody.
According to their statement, they heard Courtney saying, or somebody, oh no, 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 and somebody being slammed against the wall. And I'm sure, and I mean, they say that that's all they heard, but I mean, then this again is my opinion by the things that happened, there's no way they couldn't have heard more, but they didn't call 911.
No, they didn't call 911. And they did text the neighbor and said that sounded like somebody was being murdered next door.
Did that person call 911?
I'm sorry. Then did I say the neighbor? I'm sorry, the landlord. She was a neighbor too. I mean, she lived down the street. The landlord did. And there was, I think, was there 4 duplexes? 4 duplexes right there that they owned. But I guess they called. Nobody called. No. Nobody called. And nobody called.
And it was an altercation. It was violent. I mean, even just by they said, it just sounded like somebody was being thrown against the wall. And it's just unimaginable. I guess you never know, but I like to assume that I would have called 911 immediately.
Well, I mean, yeah. Or, I mean, the way I am, I'd have went next door.
Yeah.
I would have went next door and stopped it and, and called 911 after I got over there, but I would have went and stopped it because it would have taken the law. You're out in the county. It would have taken the law a little, 10 minutes to get out there, and then again, I would think of it later. What if something would have happened to me going over there? But I don't think of that at the time.
At
the time, you're
I would
going
have called 911 if I would have. I hear anything that sounds to, I'm just not one to look away or turn the head. So I just imagine even if that is all they heard, I would have called 911.
Yeah.
And it's just sad. It's terrible. A lot of things I feel could have.
Well, Kara said to me just now, she said, I knew of the domestic violence to a certain extent. I didn't know it was as bad as it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
however, she said that's why you would have went next door, because I've chased this boy down and he was afraid of me.
And Kara brings up a very important point. I just want to repeat that. These people and people in domestic violence situations, even if you do know, it is not black and white, and everybody, well, why didn't she just leave? And like Kara said, we want to look to the people around them. Well, so why didn't either you don't know or you don't know the extent of it, because a part of that is people, they make excuses, they make reasons, they make, it's just this, he's just being so and so.
Well, no, with your domestic violence, you've got the mental abuse along with the physical. Yes. I mean, so he's tearing her down both ways. Okay. If I'm trying to convince her to come home and bring the baby and come home, he's convincing her that he's going to get the baby. He's convincing her he's going to take everything that's in that apartment or duplex, which of course was hers. Okay. Mm-hmm. I mean,
yeah.
So it's the mental abuse just along with, and
you're equal.
I thought that I raised a very independent and strong child. Okay. Daughter, woman. I thought I did. It just totally messed with me that how dare this take place? How could this take place?
I don't think it has anything to do with Courtney being weak or not strong or any of that. I believe she very much was, and I think anybody out there listening can say the same. But also, people like that, they know what they're doing, and they know ways around, and they know how to break you down over time.
Right, because he was a real sweetheart, I'm sure, in the very beginning.
Oh,
yeah,
she even said it on her Facebook. When they first met, I seen a post. She said, looking at him, it was a hot July, evening. I looked at him, and it just the spark, everything was there for her. And a lot of the times, if you listen, that's usually how it starts for situations like that. There's this grandiose love honeymoon phase, and
correct,
to make you think that they would never do those things. And then before you know it, you love this person and they're doing these things. And it's not easy. That's all I'm saying. It's not so easy to leave, especially if you have children involved. Leaving a normal, non-domestic violence situation.
I have Kara and Courtney. So I do know the situation. I raised those two. Kenny and I married when Courtney was 10. And prior to that, it was just me and the girls, So because of the domestic violence, okay. And Courtney really wasn't that aware of it because she was so young. Okay. But Kara, she was aware of it. But anyway, I know, and I wasn't a weak person. However, again, they could worm their way back in for some reason. I don't know how, but they always could. But
Oh, Lisa, I'm gonna answer. She said, didn't Austin deny doing dope, but yet he shot Courtney up? Make no sense. Yeah, because in the transcripts we learned that both boys talk of Courtney getting some kind of pill and being injected. as maybe things to help shock her back to, or bring her, or calm her and relieve her for whatever reason.
She had anxiety attacks or panic attacks. Yeah. And she would take, what was it? She would take Klonopin, something like that. Okay. And he was supposed to have gotten one of those for her. And Austin was. And that was after her thumb was cut. And however, I think she got cut pretty quick on both. According to Austin, she was cut in the bathroom while they were trying to tape up her thumb. Okay, which they, meaning Courtney and Wayne, were trying to tape up the thumb. Okay, and Austin came in with the knife, and Courtney was in between them again, which was facing Austin, and that's how she got stabbed in the what is that vein? Anyway, it wasn't the artery, it was a vein, the Clardier vein or something like that. I don't have that in front of me. Find me, there it is. The left shoulder is what they're calling it, on the subclavian vein, the left subclavian vein is what was cut.
Now they make it sound, though, in the autopsy, and you bring that up, that and again, this is just me, I'm not familiar with reading. That's why I have people help me. It made it, when I was first reading it, though, it made it sound like that she was stabbed in the back.
Right. And of course, in reading, it's just like anything with mental illness. They have their own little code words. Yeah. It's the same thing with an autopsy, medical examiners. They use their own code words. What you're doing there is when they're talking about going from the back to the front, they're talking about the knife is going to the back and then pulling out to the front.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. And see, they're right. It's just really strange. But, we had the autopsy report for, I don't know, I think we got it in June or July of 14. And they put a gag order on the medical examiner. So nobody would tell us anything about the autopsy report. Okay. Which was very difficult to read. The toxicology, very difficult to read. What is meant in the toxicology, I don't know. In regards to this day on the amphetamine and the methamphetamine, and it's in nanograms instead of milligrams. And how much does this? I mean, I don't know, and I still don't. Okay, because according to the autopsy, instead of it being a dual, like the stab wound is what killed her, along with the methamphetamine, being overdosed.
Yeah.
They only stated that the stab wound, and it's a homicide. Okay, we were fortunate that it was a homicide, that they put in there a homicide, as many others were accident or, whatever. At least they didn't lie about that. Okay. However, we don't know still, how could there be amphetamine and methamphetamine in the body? What did he give her? Because there's nothing else listed. And there was supposed to be a benzoid in her system, and there wasn't.
Yes.
Okay. So what did he give her? Did he give her an amphetamine as he's shooting her up with methamphetamine?
Yep.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I said that right. I'm telling you, it's really, it's very difficult to talk about even 8 years later, and the evidence I got all of the evidence I have is from the DA's office. Okay. Period. All of the evidence is from the DA's office, other than some journals, which they failed to get from the duplex, like they failed to get many other things. You know, the throwing daggers. They didn't even take the bed or the sheets, so there was no blood on the bed. Okay. Or the pillows.
Because Austin says that's where it started.
That's where he says, yes.
Yeah. So that's so important. They left it behind. There was no blood there. How could it possibly start there?
See, and you know, I don't, like I said, for the DA to say that the evidence doesn't support taking him before the grand jury and charging him with murder one, he's full of it. All he has to do is open up the files and listen to the audio. He can go back. I believe I sent you a form, and that was from Greenwood's. I never got an actual police report. Okay. There was, because of the 4 agencies involved, which was 4 different crime scenes, 4 different, city, county, in two counties and 2 cities involved. So we never got a police quote, a police report. And I thought I sent you the one where it claimed that where Austin had stated to I think that the detective, the Greenwood, the same one that interrogated Wayne, that he took the knife out of his pocket or off of the table.
Yeah.
To strip the wire to give her a shock.
I mean, he's talking about a knife with the wire, a knife cut in the window, but he wants to say, he had no means to protect himself. He had no means to call anybody. He was a hostage. Wayne wouldn't let him do anything.
Correct.
But he was, by his own admission, that's a lie. He was able to leave that bedroom in and out. He was able to change his clothes. He was able to do all of these things in that 30 hours people that think of hostage situation, you would never be able to do those things.
No.
Wayne speaks of making something for Cammie. It was a very lax environment for Austin to come out saying this was a hostage situation.
Correct. That was the game plan, because that's the only way to get the fall person in. But see, the thing is if Wayne was if he was an actual murderer, there wouldn't have been a talker come out of there other than Wayne. So in other words, right, if he would have been a killer out for the blood, period, Austin would have never walked out of there or fell out the window, whatever he claims. Okay, he walked out the front door. But anyway, because if Wayne had been a true killer, why would he have let him walk? That would have been the main goal, to get rid of him.
Says in by his own admission that we read, that it was actually, he felt like he was the target, that Wayne was after him. But then why is Courtney dead and you were able to be alive for 30 hours and able to leave?
Correct. See, this is the thing that, I don't even believe Dunaway ever read anything or heard anything of the evidence. Okay. And that the assistant DAs that were handling the case were pretty persistent on him being a victim witness. And they handled it, the one woman handled it all the way through until Wayne took the plea deal. No. She was removed from the case because of Brady violation. And and so was the other one that Dunaway had put on the case at that time, which Glenn Funk had fired and Dunaway had hired, was Brent Gunn. And they finally caught him in 20 is when they had to remove him because of 3 Brady violations where they then came in and named Courtney's case along with 2 other cases where the Brady violation had been violated. And which I guess Tennessee's good for that. Okay. And the crazies in the courtroom. Totally.
So hold on just a second. I don't know if you know, and I just want to make sure that I'm paying attention because, I love this. This is one of the reasons why I do this. For what we don't know, people out there do know, and they can speak in. And Tyson Biddle, I'm sorry if I said that wrong. Amphetamine is automatically shows up if methamphetamine is in the system. And Nature Lover
Okay.
says amphetamines are used to make methamphetamines. So if that helps answer.
Okay. So I can't read it even with the glasses. That's how fine the print is.
Let me see it. And amphetamines, it automatically shows up if methamphetamine is in the system, because it was when you were talking about, you wasn't sure.
Right. And I'm still not. And so but it's showing up as a nanogram. So, I mean, I don't mind putting it out there right now. The amount, I don't know. Do you have that copy?
And no.
Okay. I thought you did. The amphetamine was 2,560 nanograms. The reporting threshold is quoted as being 50 nanograms. And so she had 2,560 nanograms of amphetamine. Methamphetamine, she had 7,740 nanograms, which again, the reporting threshold is 50 nanograms. And this was heart blood.
And Jen 10 says she actually takes clozapine and it never shows up in her blood test. Either the doctors thinks it's strange, but it could be because she was like me and it didn't show.
But it was never asked. It was never questioned why it didn't show. Yeah. That's the part that gets me.
Yeah.
Why didn't somebody ever say anything about that in the, in the, he claimed in the preliminary hearing that he gave her this pill, but yet there's none that shows on an autopsy report. This is heart blood. Because again, she's been dead now 30 hours. That's why that was, I guess, the only method of, normally it's what, femur? I don't know. I think that's what they told me before.
Lisa said, didn't they discard the syringes because, quote, the sheriff's department are not equipped to gather biohazard evidence if they weren't equipped to gather biohazard evidence. So they weren't equipped. They said that they weren't equipped to collect it.
No, they were equipped to collect it. The TBI wasn't smart enough to handle.
Well, because according to Lane, Austin went around the house collecting all of that stuff and put it in a trash bag, right?
Yes.
So if they would have taken that and, anything to corroborate, they didn't, I feel like they didn't take anything that could have potentially corroborated anything Wayne was saying.
Correct. And as a matter of fact, I believe that on one of the pictures of the crime scene, I believe there were gloves thrown on the bed too. Yeah. Plastic gloves. So I'm sure that was Austin's. but that one is here. That one I'm just throwing in there.
Yeah.
Even though Wayne was the last to leave the apartment.
And Wayne was the one that called 911 and, in the end, when it came down to it.
Correct. And we
And
don't
you
have
don't
a
have a
time.
timeline for that morning, do you?
No, there is no timeline. The only timeline we have is when the doctor's office that his parents were supposedly at, when he contacted his parents through the doctor's office, because they conveniently left their cell phones at the house. Okay. So that would give them an alibi. Okay. We have no time of what time Austin left the apartment. He didn't get to, I'm not sure now what time it was when he walked into the hospital doors. I believe it was like 11:38 when he walked through to the emergency room. Okay. And 11:33 is when the doctor's office called 911. Now, whether, and that one sounds like probably true, but we don't have a time when Wayne called. So Wayne left after, so we don't know what time Austin left.
This is where it gets confusing for me, because you have Wayne calling 911 on one phone, and if anybody reading them can unconfuse it for me, but at some point, one of the he gets rid of his phone or something he calls to have somebody come pick him up in the woods, and they give him a new phone. And in the interrogation, I feel like they were trying to very much get Wayne to say no, you used this phone. And Wayne's clearly saying, no, man, I used this phone. Wait, what phone are you talking about? And he's trying to confuse Wayne. He confused the hell out of me. I do know that. So I can only imagine in Wayne's state at the time how confused he was, because he was, no, I was using this one. Wait, you're talking about this phone, right? Yeah. And then he was like, well, it's this phone. And Wayne's like, what phone are you talking about? And it's never clear. But me reading it, it's just very clear that Green wanted him to say that he was using one phone, and it was very clear that he used the other phone. It's what phone is what that we don't know. Do you know what phone he used? Did he use the phone given to him, or did he use his phone?
They had between them, okay, I think there was five or six cell phones and cell numbers between the three of them. Okay. So at any given time, they swap out. Okay. But they would swap out for a month or two. I mean, you would know, like, if Wayne texts me, I would know it's Wayne. If Courtney texts me on that number, I would know it was Courtney. Do you know what I mean? Because you could tell by the way they talk.
Yeah, but what I'm saying,
typed.
in the transcripts, Green asks, it's relayed to you leave, you call 911, you hang up. He calls to have his friends come get him in the woods, and at some point they have him turn off his phone, or they have him turn off one phone and give him a new phone, because they didn't want, for whatever reason, they gave, at the time they picked Wayne up from the woods, they gave him a new phone. But we don't know what phone he actually called 911 from between those two phones. Was it his phone, or was it the phones that his friends gave him when they picked him up?
No, he was, the 911 was called before the friends got there.
Okay. But in the interrogation, that's okay, cool. Because in there, he makes it very much seem that he wants Wayne to say he used the new phone and try to come up with this, conspiracy, this thing that Wayne was trying to hide it all, I feel. My opinion.
Yes. Oh, definitely. That, and he even wanted to include other people involved.
Yes. And I just want to make it very clear
that they weren't.
That the blood found on the friend's shoes was not Courtney's, correct?
Correct.
That would, and that's very sketchy, because they say that in there and people don't know what that result was. They were trying to say that, Wayne had people there helping him clean up, trying to put people there very much. and they found blood on somebody's shoes. Well, I just wanted everybody to know that, whatever that blood, it wasn't Courtney's.
No, it wasn't Courtney's blood. No, the other men, they weren't involved at all. They were all friends. Actually, I think Wayne stayed with them.
Yeah.
And actually, the one guy that Wayne called was actually in love with Courtney. I mean, it was just a tangled mess. It really was. Everybody loved Courtney, and it wasn't, not that she was, what would be my term to be very, she wasn't loose. Okay. She just was that pretty and that, good to people, nice to people, that everybody just she fell in love with her, and, of course she wasn't in love with him, but that made it difficult for him to come and pick up Wayne, because the girlfriend or the wife, I'm not sure if he was married at the time, but anyway, the girlfriend, wife, whatever, despised Courtney for the fact that she knew that her husband / boyfriend was in love with Courtney. See, I mean, it was a tangled web, but.
Chrissy Love 79 says she was a very respectable young lady.
Who said that?
I heard her YouTube name is Chrissy Love 79.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Courtney was. I mean, everybody loved Courtney. Everybody loved Courtney.
I think I can relate to her as far as what you're saying, when she was just this naturally nice person. She kind of had that natural flirty, bubbly attitude, personality. And, I do too. And I very, very specifically remember my mom telling me, Ash, not everybody's just going to take it as being friends.
Correct.
They're going to take it the wrong way, and you're going to hurt a lot of people's feelings. And it may be innocent and just, I didn't know. Everybody's just my friend. I'm just nice. I just have that. I used to say I'll flirt with a lamp pole. It's just my personality. I'm bubbly.
Right.
I'm nice.
Well, I mean, Courtney was always smiling. Yeah. Well, not around him, but Austin, but she was always smiling, and, I was trying to think.
People are drawn to that. People are very.
Oh, definitely. I mean, her smile, her laugh. Yeah. Oh, it was contagious. It was, her laugh was just, she was something else with that laugh. And she could be in a really serious moment and, oh honey, she'd break out in a laugh. Oh my gosh. You couldn't look at her. If it was a serious moment, you don't look at Courtney, because she'd be laughing. Oh yeah. And she was just that type. But no, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take to get the justice for her when the proof is all in the books, all in the recordings. And
how did you feel when Austin was saying that he was just, and this is just my phrase that I'm using, on the brink of death, and then you see his hospital video. I don't think
you got to realize I didn't see that and for 2 years.
Yeah. How did you feel about that when you finally seen it?
Oh,
I mean, I know how.
I mean, as a parent, I got, I have to be very cautious of what I say, because as a parent, we all know what we would all want to do. Okay. And again, like I said, here is all this proof, and he wasn't even harmed. And you have to stop and think, Courtney was dead 30 hours.
Yeah.
She was dead the day before. Courtney died on March 18th in the early twilight hours, which would have been probably around 6:30 in the morning. Okay. Of March 18th. Okay. her date of death, according to the medical examiner, is March 19th when they found her. Okay. And
crazy. I guess it's normal. I don't know. From where I come from and what I hear, you always try to pinpoint the time of death, not when you find her.
right. And
It's
see, she had
so-
been put in the box that morning.
Yeah.
The morning that they found her. She laid in the living room for that length of time.
And she
Dead
was
with Cameron there.
So for them to say that she died on the 19th, I don't know. I guess that's how they do things, y'all. But what it says to people is that she died on the 19th. But there is this whole 30 hours where they were in that house with her.
Correct. But that wasn't known until the preliminary hearing.
Which is crazy.
All right. See, that we didn't know until that day. Okay. I mean, they never told us. And they knew.
Yeah. Damn right they did.
See, so you've got, like I said, you've got that, what the DA held back from us all along. And then, of course, constantly, being intimidated by the DA. All right. Never being, I mean, when Wayne took the plea deal, we were told at 5:02 the night before, they were already walking out of the office, that we had to be in the courtroom the next morning. That's how they refused to communicate.
So let me ask you this. Courtney was stabbed.
Correct.
Do they have the very knives that stabbed her?
No.
How do you know where? Nobody knows where they are to this day.
Austin has all of the Chicago culinary knives that were in the block. And that's what he claimed stabbed her, was stabbed with. A silver Chicago culinary.
And they couldn't determine by the knife sizes and they couldn't rule it in and rule it out. Did they even try?
No, it was never tried. He was given the knives. He was given the knives.
I'm no professional, but I feel like if you were stabbed with, say he put any of those knives and it wasn't the knife, that's why we hire people. There would be somebody there that could say, well, if he's saying she was stabbed with this knife, the wound is suggesting a different knife. They never did that, I feel.
No, they didn't.
This time in this step.
Well, no, they didn't even confiscate all the knives.
Yeah.
That were all over the apartment. They weren't hid. They were all over the kitchen, where, wherever they were laid, all over. Okay. They were never collected. I don't know what they collected, to tell you the truth. I mean, I have a list of what they collected. Okay. But
well, stuff like the syringes, Wayne very much says he helped me collect up all these things. He put them in there. I didn't do that. He did. What did they do with that trash bag?
The needles went into that dispenser
They didn't test any of them, did they?
Oh no, they disposed of them the next day.
Yeah.
Because TBI couldn't handle. It was too dangerous for them to handle that. That was what they told us.
So what did they have? Do you know? What did they have that definitively said what they were saying happened? Anything?
No, they have nothing.
You can't go back and think to one thing that they said to you. This is the evidence we have that solely says this.
Wayne said that he cut her hand.
Yeah, he very much remembered.
Okay. Yeah, he stated that. That's not what killed Courtney. Mm-hmm. However, that's what they went on. There is nowhere in any of the evidence that clears Austin. Austin is all the evidence points to him and his family. Okay. All of the evidence. What with Wayne, what it shows me with Wayne is he never lied.
Yeah.
Okay. If he was, if he was even allowed to try to speak. Okay.
Yeah.
And if they didn't like what he stated, I think they just said that it was, what's the term? Where they couldn't understand him.
Oh, inaudible, where they
yes,
put
thank you. Yes, thank you. Okay, but
or
they
just cut
could
them off completely.
Basically.
Yeah.
Okay, and so yeah,
I would be very interesting to know what Wayne has to say after all these years, and I bet it's the same. Because the thing that I get is Wayne, like you said, very, very, he says, I can see where I could have nicked her on the thumb. I can see that. Where it really, if you pay attention, Austin says that it happened in the bathroom. They both do. But if you pay attention to what Wayne's saying and you look at Austin's wounds in his back, and you really pay attention, Wayne says that at this time, Austin is on top of him. And that's when he got stabbed in the back. So then you say you have Austin.
Wait a minute. Austin was on top of who?
Austin was on top of Wayne. And then that's when Wayne had to reach over and gave him a few jabs in the back because he was trying to get him off. But my point is, this is where Austin says that Wayne stabbed Courtney in the shoulder. How could he have possibly done that? And if you look at the evidence in that picture and what Wayne's saying, well, yeah, if he's got a knife and Austin's on top of him like that, yeah, he'd reach over and jab him like that. Now, Austin wants to say that Wayne gave him those stabs while he was sitting on the couch, trying to take care of Courtney, saving her life. He just randomly comes up and jabs him.
Right. That didn't happen.
No, I fully believe that Wayne was in that bathroom on top of Wayne, and Wayne was stabbing him, and somehow Courtney got in the middle. The thing is,
no, that's not
Wayne would have been able to stab Courtney in the bathroom. Period.
Wayne was on the, let's see, how do we paint the picture?
There was no way Wayne would have been able to stab Courtney in the bathroom.
No, Wayne was bandaging her thumb up. Okay. And she turned around, and when she turned around, because Austin was coming in the bathroom to attack Wayne with the knife, that's when Austin got that. And the reason why I say that is when I re-listened to Austin on the video, he made sure at that time in the ER that's when he said that Courtney got stabbed there. I had to, and how many times I've listened to that?
Yeah, well, that makes sense now, because if you do, okay. Mm-hmm.
Well, how would he know that? How would he know? But when in the preliminary hearing, he claimed he didn't know when she got stabbed there. Okay. But he did, because he said it in that video that's when she got stabbed. And when, and like I said, I didn't hear that before. Okay. Which is so strange that you could read through this 100 times over and find more things and find more things. Mm-hmm. And it's like, wow, it's unbelievable. Okay.
That is one of the,
because, okay, for another thing, I thought you were going to show a picture of the car.
Oh yeah. Let me pull up. Right
and where,
because I got it
when he left out the window with the child, he supposedly put the baby in the front seat and really had to get out of there quickly before he came out, after him. Wayne came out after him, which of course that didn't happen. But anyway, he claimed to have put the baby in the front seat, where the car seat now is in the back seat. Okay. And are you looking for the picture?
Yeah, I'm
I
getting them here pulled
okay.
up.
Okay. And because I was going to say, I don't have it readily available to be able to put. I don't even know how to put it up. Anyway,
I just got so many of them in this file. Okay. Let me get the window since I see that.
Okay.
And then let me get the.
Kara is here. I'm going to have to step out for just a second. Okay.
Yeah.
And she can tell you all about the window. You're good.
Where did I put? I'm looking for that window. Or not the window, the car. I know I have it. Okay, I'm going to pull up this the window real quick. Get out of my way. I'm sorry. Okay, there we go. Okay. But that's what I'm talking about, you know.
The window.
Wayne says that he's standing there, you know, at this point he says his horrifyingly life-threatening stab wounds have stopped bleeding out of, I don't know how. But, you know, that was one thing, you know, he also goes to say he backed out the window. So there's no blood. But my thing is, I mean, you got to picture it. If he's got his kid in his arms, he's backing out that window. One, I feel like the screen would be, you know, cut up around, like I said, we can't see the whole thing, but from where it's in, it's just the bottom there cut. Right. But my thing is, if he would have went out that window, that screen would not, I just don't think it would be on the inside. It would be on the outside. It'd be ripped. It'd be pulled out in the direction that he went.
Correct. And especially with all of his body weight plus the baby's weight going out, it way more damage would be to the window, and there wasn't. And no blood or nothing, but he was bleeding
so severely.
Right. So there, it tells you right there.
And my thing is, even if he, for some, I mean, in the scripts, you guys see, you know, at some point he had to duct tape them. They were bleeding so bad. And even if they did stop stretching them like that, you know, he had her in a bear hug. He's getting level with this window and stretching to go out. It would have popped them back open in a heartbeat. There still would have been blood somewhere.
Mm-hmm. There would have been blood smeared somewhere, and there was no blood.
And
then the picture of the car as well. I wanted to tell you the car. He said he put her in the front seat of the car and took off. Well, the front seat was folded as if it was a two-door car. The way the seat was pushed all the way up, and I thought there's no way he did that.
Oh, I'm looking for them. I know I have them. Because the seat that he has pulled up, and again, it says, let me see. No, I cannot find them. I'm going to be.
Well, actually, Courtney had ridden in the front seat that night before, coming back from Walmart in the front seat. Okay. So there's no way the seat would have been pushed up that far for her to ride in it. Okay.
Well, yeah.
And it was the passenger seat that was pushed up. It's a 4-door car. So the point is there's no way that he put the baby in the car seat when he left. The reason for the seat to be pushed up like that is where we've come to the conclusion he was measuring or tried to put the box in the vehicle through the back door and to where he could dispose of the box with the body in it. Do you understand? You see,
yes.
There we go. That was what that was for.
And if you go back to what Wayne was saying, you know, as a part of the plans that they were coming up with, and one of them was transporting her somewhere, taking her.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I hate to say this, but dumping her on the side off of a road. And then you see this car. Oh, I'm going to find, if it's not here, I have it in another video. I will drop it. But this car, the seat, you see the baby seat. You have the seat pulled up. Austin says he runs out. He throws the baby not in the car seat, but the front seat. And
there's no way
it's folded. How are you going to put
Right.
your kid in a folded seat?
Correct.
And that's how investigators found it, right?
Correct.
And you guys are under the impression it hadn't been touched. That's the way it arrived.
That is the way it arrived.
When he arrived. Cindy, I know you sent me that car picture, and I know
I did. I just, I don't know how to, I'm not that good at clicking and moving around on here because I would lose you, but then I don't know how to send it to you.
I'm going to go.
That would disconnect, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Messages.
I don't know. I don't know where it's at. I think I sent it to you on Messenger.
Yeah, that's where I'm looking because I can just resave it real quick. But gosh,
anyway, but the point is the lies and they had discussed it, and he and Austin took off with all the lie with the craziness and pushed it all back on Wayne as if this was all Wayne's idea.
When I feel there is more reasonable doubt to believe that Austin was lying.
Correct.
With the proof that we do have and the evidence that we do show, it lines up more with what.
Well, he was never consistent. He lied about everything.
Oh, I found it. Here, let me save him so I can pull him up.
His story continues to change, and it would change to this day. I'm sure this is the first time he's been able to look at, since it's public, the interrogation with Wayne and the preliminary hearing. He probably never even saw any of that before. Didn't have to because he was a victim witness,
So let me ask you this. There was a big, I've seen in the whispers in the groups in the talk that the judge actually called Austin a liar. Is that true or not?
Yes, that's true. And that was true when Brett Gunn was claiming that his client, that's when they were trying to actually get rid of, I'm sorry, let me rephrase this. The defense attorney was at that time trying to get rid of the prosecutors because they were witnesses to, I can't remember exactly what lie Austin had told then. Okay. And they were claiming to the judge that Austin was going to tell the truth and be there. And that's when the judge Patterson at that time said that Austin Johnson was a liar. Period. In the courtroom. And there is, I can't remember which news channel covered that, but yeah, that is online somewhere. On one of the, that may have been in the Herald Citizen. I'm not sure, but now they've removed a lot of the videos. So
I want to see if I can pull this up better here.
Now that's the back seat angle where the front seat is pushed all the way down. That's the car seat. That little pink part, that's her car seat.
And so, that's the seat that's pushed up, right?
Correct.
And that's also the seat, when he came around, he said he quickly threw her in the front seat, drove to his mom and dad's house. And at that point, like I said, it's been relayed to you. It was no longer touched. When officers came to get it, the seat was folded up.
Correct.
So how do you get a baby in that front folded seat?
you don't, because he actually had the time, like I said, to put her in the car seat. Well, I mean, you stop and think about it. He is damaged on the back, his lungs. Okay. You fall out a window backwards with a 25-pound infant, okay, on your chest as you fall out backwards. Okay. Even if you weren't stabbed, quote, supposedly, it's going to knock the wind out of you to where you're going to be temporarily paralyzed from the shock of your back hitting with the extra weight on you. Okay. And then he's going to get up and run around the front and jump in the car. Meanwhile, carrying this 25, 30-pound baby. Okay. All the time to get in the car. No, that's not, well, we all know that's not what happened. So yeah, there's the front. Now you can see, there you go, where it's pushed.
Wow.
It's pushed up. And now then, yeah. So, but the thing is he's never consistent with anything that he states, ever. Okay. But they continue to claim that he's the victim. Which is kind of, like I said, with this district attorney, the victim, the real victims are always the ones that he blames. I mean, there's drugs involved. Well, Austin took the drugs. He was the one that was shooting people with them. Okay. Why didn't they get rid of him? Put him behind bars. If they're so against.
Absolutely. That is a very good point.
I just don't understand why he's free. Okay. Because like I said, all of the evidence points to him there. And that's all I ever asked from the very beginning. If he's a victim witness, then show me his innocence. That's all you have to do. Show me his innocence and I'll believe you. But they never could. They never could. I mean, this is no different than, granted, at least, Courtney's is a homicide. Aaron Keyes, they listed that as a suicide. Okay. And they can't, why do they have to continue the lies in this district? This is what, why can't you just give us our, for example, Austin would have folded. You wouldn't have had to taken him to trial. He would have folded. Okay. And I'm sure that the same thing with Aaron's case. But see, this is a whole different ballpark. Basically that was planned. They were planned paid killers, I'm sure, that did that to Aaron. Okay. We can go through the list on the billboard.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Why can't we get justice? This is common sense here. These are mamas out here playing detective.
And you guys have real evidence.
We do.
Credible questions.
We do. We do. And we've at least at this point, at least we have Dennis Ferrier. He's listening.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's sticking his neck out there. And as much as Dunaway says, you're the only one. Well, yeah, he's sticking his neck out there. Yeah. Right.
Well, that and the fact that, we also managed to get the billboard up in this town. Okay. That was a biggie it took many months to get that billboard up. Okay. But we got it up.
Yes, you did.
And hopefully it's getting us somewhere, and I believe it is. And I not only I think is Dunaway a little bit on the nervous side, but I honestly believe that Austin's going to be on the nervous side because there's no statute of limitations on murder.
No. I think that, and I can't say for sure, this is just my opinions, but Austin was going to talk. Him and I was in communications, and that's what I do. And you guys all know this. I will let anybody, all sides come tell your side. And he said that he was going to, and then all communication stopped. He hasn't said anything back. And I asked myself, did somebody, say something? Hey, don't go up there and speak now.
I'm sure that's probably what it was. Somebody shut him down, or he realized that he couldn't speak, even though that's what he was quite used to,
Yeah.
Because he's a Mr. Know-it-all, that's just his personality, that narcissistic. Anyway,
like I said, God brought us all together for the perfect storm.
correct. Mm-hmm.
Kimberly Sidwell says, I believe that even to this day, Austin would still fold.
He would. And, we all have to realize that at this point, we have a 9-year-old who happened to have been, who was just shy of what was she, 18, 20 months old. Okay. And she's not almost 10. And we've all seen enough shows, Forensic Files and all of that, where the children come out to get justice for their parent. And that's what's going to, if we don't get justice soon, that's what's going to happen with little Miss Cameron in here. Okay. She will be bold enough and brave enough to take them on. If not, become a DA herself, because that's what I'm really hoping for. If we can't get anywhere in this, since we didn't get anywhere in this last 8 years and we have nobody running against Dunaway, okay, she will become a DA at some point. I can promise you that.
Rev J says they don't like to take chances in fear the higher ups might get caught in all their cover-ups they do to perfect
the House of Cards is going to fall sometime.
I believe it's coming.
Oh, definitely.
I do.
It's long overdue, because this goes all the way back to even Terry Sullivan. What about the two kids that were found by the NUG in Sparta in White County, that had been dead for a little over 20 years.
Yes. Somebody
okay.
On my yes.
Okay, so yeah, that it's coming. It's coming very quickly. And it's time. It's long overdue. And there's our sign. There you go.
And I put this in a post and I said, it's crazy. It's just perfect because, you see these signs and then you look up to the sky and it's just a very, it just says a lot.
Oh, it does. And each of our children stand out, regardless of it being, so there's so many faces on that sign. Each of our children stands out. Doesn't matter where they're placed on the board, they stand out.
Yeah.
And
you have all these signs at the bottom, and then you look up and you see the sign that matters. And all these people, you filled me in on all these elect me people down here. But it's just crazy. You have all these elect me signs, elect me, and then you look up and see this.
Well, Carolyn Knight I think she won over the judge that likes to, he liked to send out pretty pictures. So anyway, but she's coming out of the DA's office herself. Okay. Lori Sieber, again, she lost, thank goodness. And she was Cameron's guardian ad litem and lied all the way through the custody hearing, all the way through. So you didn't deserve to be a judge, So anyway, Cameron has camp tomorrow. I've got to we're gonna have to call it
No,
because I have to get her packed for because
that's so
she
exciting.
has a camp and
I was
she's,
into that. I went to church camp, any camp, you name it.
oh, she loves it. She loves it. And she's so excited. So but I
Well,
have
I
to
am
get
glad you are feeling better. And now that you are, don't anytime, we did this, go back, watch it, jot down what and if you want to come back, I tell everybody, you just let me know. I know with you, it's,
it's hard because there's so much.
yes.
And it's hard to put it in a 30-minute segment, a 20-minute. It's hard. And I don't know how to break it down.
Well, go back and watch.
Without a timeline, it's very difficult. How do you break it down when there's no timeline? So that's what makes it so hard. And
well, go back, watch this. The way I do it is I take note. You hear us talking about something. What didn't we get to say there?
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. And then start there. And then we can, I'm on here, as long as you guys can be on here, it can go 20 hour, 2 hours. Hell, I think the longest we've been on here is 3.5 hours before.
Really? Yeah. Well, if I have I'm an old lady.
Yeah, I know. That's
fighting,
why
just fight, had just got over fighting cancer and still with, chemo running through the veins here. But anyway, we're done with that. So I'm kind of still weak, wimpy, but still trying to get her together. And we're doing a good job, but I've got to get her rolling so that she can thoroughly enjoy this little adventure tomorrow.
That's so fun.
I know. But I'm really glad to get the message out. And we will do this again. And if people could ask questions, I will try my best to answer them.
Yes. Drop them even after this. You can drop them in the comments section. Cindy will come watch and I'll let her know. So that way she can come answer them for you.
Okay. And I really appreciate you all being there and helping us get justice. Yeah. Thanks, Ashley.
You have a good night.
You too, hon.
Bye-bye.
Bye, hon.
I'm sorry, you guys. I'm just, for her to be able to do that and everybody that knows her and what she's been going through, just for her to be able to come here and do that alone, it's just so nice to see and hear her talk that way. So I'm very excited. I'm very happy for the news. I found out a few days ago and, she hadn't been in the doctor and it was very scary. And I'm sure even when she did get it officially, it's just surreal. Like she said, her body hasn't caught up yet and it's still a road to go, but it's just awesome to hear her speak the way that she's been speaking. I'm so glad that you guys came and did this and asked the questions. Don't let it stop after we get off. Like she says, she will come on here and she will read and I will let her know because she wants to answer them. They all do. They want you to see what they see. So, and they know that with that comes some, tough questions and hard topics to talk about. But that just shows the strength they have and that any of us would hope and imagine to have in situations like these and getting justice. They're just strong. They're just incredibly, incredibly strong people. And I thank you for being here. Like I told her, just go back, watch, jot down some things. And if she thinks and feels up to coming back on, she's more than welcome. And you all are more than welcome to come here as long as we're going to just be nice humans. These are grieving families. So with that being said, this is Ash with TC Spotlight. You guys have a good night.